Most people trying to start in rent to rent right now have no idea what's coming. Because I predict that there's going to be a lot of businesses over the next 12 months that are simply just going to die out because they're just not going to survive. What I'm seeing at the moment is, well, what looks like every Tom, Dick, and Harry thinking that they can just take on a property, sign a contract, take a few pictures, and then put it on Airbnb and make £1,000 profit per month. But it just doesn't work like that. It could have been possible maybe a few years back, but the game's changing now where I'm just seeing a lot of amateur hosts, poor listings, expecting to make money, but that's just simply not the case. You can't just watch a few videos on YouTube or TikTok and then think you know what it means to be able to run a short-term rental business. Like, yes, this is a business. It's not just you having a little bit of fun messing around with Airbnb. If things are not done correctly and you run it like a business, then you're simply not just going to last. So one of the things I do in my business every week is that I actually look on Airbnb and Booking.com to look at the competition. I look at local properties and listings within my area just to kind of make sure that I'm where I need to be. I'm not overpriced and underpricing myself too much, and just seeing how everyone else is kind of getting on, look at their occupancy and things like that. And one of the most common things that I see at the moment is just poor listings. Like, having poor pictures is one thing, but even down to the properties themselves, I see such bad properties being listed on these websites. It sometimes makes me question, like, do these hosts really think they're going to get bookings? Because it's not that simple. Like, guests have a choice. They will choose, if they have the choice between your property and someone else's, and they're the same price, well, obviously they're going to go with the one that looks better. So for starters, I'm just seeing so many people thinking that they can just take any property they want and simply just put it on Airbnb, but that's not the way it works. You need a higher quality property and have the listing look good to ensure that you're actually going to get booked. And for me, if I feel like your listing isn't of a good quality and it looks very amateur, then it's going to translate into the service that you're providing for your guests. And that's where the biggest gap is happening right now. There's a growing gap between the amateur hosts and the professional ones. And the online booking platforms, they recognize this as well. Airbnb specifically, they're so big on quality, and they're making a big shift within their business because they've seen a massive increase in the supply in terms of number of listings on their platform, that they only want to have the top quality properties on there. So again, if your reviews aren't there, then slowly just going to remove you from the platform, and only the top quality listings and hosts will remain. But it's not only with the booking platforms. The guests themselves, they also expect a certain quality, and the standard they expect is slowly rising as well as the supply increases for properties. So it's forever important that systemization is in place. And with the rise of AI, I think this is also going to help widen the gap between the amateurs and the professionals. Because what I'm seeing is that a lot of amateur hosts and operators, they don't systemize their business. So what do I mean by systemization? I mean things that have automated check-in processes, that collect payments from guests, provide guests the information they need for their stay, change your prices dynamically, organize your cleaning schedule. These are all tasks that if you end up having to do them manually, not only will it be slower, but you're also creating yourself more work and you can't scale. With a lot of professional hosts like myself, the business is so systemized that everything runs like clockwork. So therefore, you're able to provide such a high quality service to your guests, you boost reviews, and in turn, you end up getting more bookings because of it. So the way in which you can systemize your business, and one of the things that I do, is have a fully automated and systemized guest journey from the moment they click book. So after they book, they get access to a personal portal, which requires them to upload bits of information about themselves. They upload their ID and pay a deposit. And then on the day of check-in, they'll automatically be given access to the check-in details, which includes things like where to get the keys from, the property address, even how to operate the heating and Wi-Fi and things like this. On top of that, I have an AI that's built into my guest messaging. So if they have any questions about anything at any point in time, we can pretty much instantaneously reply to them. And this AI is fully trained to understand everything there is to know about my properties. So there's no question a guest will have that the AI won't be able to respond to. And therefore, my response rates are electric and better than any other amateur host who, if they get a message during the night, if they don't see it, well, they're going to have to respond to it in the morning, which is a lot slower. And we're in a current sort of climate now where people expect things quickly. You need to move with speed. So the response rate is so big, but when you have a systemized business, it means that you can basically remove any delay in between the guest sending you a message from them getting a response. I also have systems that dynamically change prices. So that means I can maximize the income I get for each individual day because the algorithms basically detect when there's high demand, if there's certain events that are going on, and then up or even lower the price accordingly. So that way I can maximize my occupancy, but also ensure that I'm making the most amount of money on each particular day that I can possibly get. And this is where I see a lot of people going wrong again. I look on Airbnb and the amount of hosts that are just charging like a one set price for the whole year round and just hoping to get booked to that one price point is just a recipe for failure. Because there's going to be so many days you're not going to get bookings, and there's going to be other days where you could have charged so much more than what you got for it, but you didn't because you weren't dynamically changing your pricing. So again, I've had tools to implement them. So when it comes to systemization and people are not implementing these systems within their business, they're simply not going to survive, because you need to build this business like a machine. It's not just a case about working harder. So that's why I think a lot of rent-to-rent businesses are simply not going to survive over the next 12 months. You can't just build a side hustle over WhatsApp and think that's just going to now turn into a business. You need to understand the full fundamentals, the ins and outs of this business, and then scale these components so that the business can grow. And if you're someone who's looking to get started in rent to rent or looking to scale their rent to rent business, but you don't want to end up like the dozens of people who start this business but then ultimately fail because they don't know what they're doing, well, there'll be a link in the description below where you can book in a call with myself. We can have a chat and I can see if I can help you build a systemized Airbnb business that can actually make money long term and withstand the competition.